Okay folks, we're over here at the work table and I've got the box ready to go. I've got the board that we just cut ready to go. I've got my shooting plane and shooting board ready to go. Notice I don't have that dog ear attachment because we're going to be cutting square edges off this thing. And just, off that square side like that. And we'll probably have to speed up parts of it because it'll be kind of tedious work. But the interference fit is what's important. Now, our goal is to get this to fit down in this box just perfectly. I'm not going to glue it yet. I'm going to cut the box off before I glue it, I think. Just so we don't make a mistake of getting it down too far where we can't get it back up. And having the box off, we can kind of push up when we do that. So anyway, this box top will not fit in here at this point. It's close that way, less close that way, not close at all that way, not close at all that way. So we got a lot of work to do to get this done. But you'll see some techniques. I haven't done this in a little while, so it'll probably take me some time to get back in the swing of things here. But we'll give it a go and see and see how that goes. All right. What I'm going to do first is try to fit this end into the box first, because we're closest. We're furthest that way. I'm closest this way, and I just soon do the easy part last, because this way I've got more room to play with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, when I start cutting this board here, I'm going to be holding it out just a little bit and cutting. Well, maybe you can see this on the GoPro. I mean, if this is flat against that plane, it would cut down that entire edge like that. What I want to do instead is kind of hold this out a little bit and cut only at the very end of this thing, going into there. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to get just two little shaved off ends like that to fit in that one little corner perfectly, and do the same thing on the other side. And then the rest of it will just simply be a matter of connecting this line with this line where it fits and cutting it straight. And so that's the tricky procedure to get that interference cut, because we're not exactly sure that this is perfectly square or perfectly straight in any way whatsoever. And so, I mean, it's close enough to the eye, you couldn't tell it, but there are slight differences in real life that you won't be able to see. So I'm going to advance this blade a little bit, because I don't feel anything yet at this point. And notice you don't hear anything up here, then you hear a little bit down there. So that's what I've been doing, is cutting that off. And we've got a long way to go. I have to turn it upside down to get this other parts of the MDF part will be on top. So I'm going to try to get both sides going at the same time. And one of the things you can do if you have a hard time holding it still, you can put a little piece of, I'll grab this 1/32 inch gauge right here, and I can put that piece right there, and I can use that as my gauge block for the angle I'm looking for. That way I can push hard against this back. It's not cutting here, here, here. It begins to engage about right there. So it starts engaging about right here. And it's hard to tell how much I'm getting done each time, but I've got another 30 seconds to go, so I'm flipping it over again. The good thing is, since I'm only taking off maybe less than 1/1000th of an inch each time, these are super, super fine little shavings right there. Maybe it is exactly 1/1000th of an inch. We're getting closer, but still got some more to go here. All right, now I'm going to turn it over and go back to the other side because I want both sides to be angled in. All right, we're getting very, very close here. All right, it goes in. And that's as far as it goes in right there. Okay, now we've done this side. I've got a mark on here. I'm going to use that mark to say that's the side I've done. And so now I'm going to turn it around and start working on this other side. And then flip it over. Same thing here. The first scratch only gets a very tiny little bit. And then we get more and more each time as it goes deeper and deeper. And now this time, remember, we're working on this side over here. And we're maybe 1/28th of an inch away. That's several passes of the blade. Flip it over again. And I want my block there to get shaved. Very, very close. It just went in. You can see it goes in about the same distance right there. So I've got the two ends fitted in. Now this is marked with a 1 on this end. So I'm going to be sure to mark a 1 on this other end so I don't get confused as I'm putting this in here. And I just put the little mark 1 right there. I'll be able to erase that with an eraser because I did it very lightly. And so now there's really no point in trying to plane that. And you see what we've got is a hump. I can see it down here. Let's see if you can see it. There's a slight little hump in the middle from here. Well, let's try it with a straight edge. Hang on, I'll be back. So you can see with this straight edge, let me use this wider edge, that goes back and forth. So this, looking at this camera right here, you can see me moving. So that's the hump I'm talking about. And there's no need in taking the hump off because I won't be able to gauge it until I get this other side to where it's fitting. So this side probably needs to go, I probably need to do these two edges next to get one of these sides going. So if the one's there, I'm taking care of this side of the one and this side right here. So The way I do that, I probably need a little bit bigger. This is a 32nd. I probably need a little bit bigger to get a deeper, I'll go for a 16th instead of a 32nd. So there's our 16th. Now that starts cutting way too soon. So we'll add another, I'll make it 3 30-seconds instead of 2 30-seconds. And 3 30-seconds is the width of that saw blade over there. So notice I don't start cutting until I get to the end. You know what, I can't do that because that's going to cut the grain out. So I've got to have something. I think I'm going to take a different approach. I'm going to put the gauge over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this side. That's part of what I'm having to relearn because it's been a year or so since I've done this. So now I'm cutting from this side and I can flip it over. Put this gauge right here. And that just almost fits. I forgot how narrow that was. Flip it over. And flip it over. It almost went. And I could force that one too, but let me try a little bit more here. Flip it over and cut one slice off of each corner. Which is 2 slices total. Yep, look, that just went. So that goes in about like that, and this goes in, does not go in on that side. So, you know what? I had the one on the wrong side. So this goes in on this side and does not go in on this side. Oh wait, it is so close. All right, so I need to be on the right side of that one when the one's on the bottom. And let me get my 32nd. No. Why am I doing that? All right, so we were able to get it in on those ends because we started on those ends first. Now we're trying to get these ends, and that went in on that side, but wouldn't go in on this side. So I need to do I'm just going to do one side, not both. So one on each corner, one pass on just one side. So 2 passes in essence total. So the one goes up here. That still goes in there. I got it in, but that's a little bit too tight. So this is the side I'm working on. So I need to do this. Then flip it over and do this. I got it in there. I got it in a little easier there. I'm going to do one of the corners on this side. So that goes in. So now we've got each corner matching the width of the box, the length of the box, and all that kind of stuff. What we don't have is these humps cut out. So it's time to cut the hump out so that we get a nice straight edge all the way down. Now this is a little bit tricky in that, let me see if I can get a lamp over on this side of the blade here. So now you should be able to see this edge. And if I've got this, notice there's a gap here and a gap here quite a bit. And so I'm only cutting from the middle, and I don't want to cut from the ends. I only want to cut from the middle until I get straight all the way across. Remember, every cut is a longer cut. And I got to do this to all four sides. So this is the first of the sides that's getting this treatment. All right, so it's starting to cut about right here and ending at about right here, or right here. So I need to get it to where it all but does the entire side in there. So I'm making sure I got to now let's just see how straight that is with this straight edge. There's no rocking whatsoever. So that, I think, is this side fitting straight and ready to go in. So if you can look at this on the GoPro here, see, I'm touching all the way. Actually, I have a slight little hump. I could push a little bit and it would get rid of that hump. But I'm going to do a little bit more to make sure I'm completely gone with that hump. There's the one, there's the one. All right, that side is good. And now we'll do the other side the same way. So the ones at the back now, so this is, I should be clearly able to see the hump in here. And indeed I can. I'm going to lift the GoPro up and show you this hump. So you see where I'm touching in the middle right there, but right there in that corner it's not touching, and right here in this corner it's not touching. So that's what I'm trying to get rid of right there. I did sharpen this blade again after I originally worked with it in the beginning of this series, cutting the miter edges. I think. And you see, that's actually easier than a lot of things I've been doing, getting that fitting right. As long as you take the right approach to those things. With the shooting board makes easy work out of a lot of things. All right, I think it still appears to be a slight little hump, but that may be because this board's bowed in a little bit. Matter of fact, I can check that here. If it is, it's not much. Yep, there's a slight hump still, so. What I can do is, when it's that close, I can push on the board hard against the plane where I want it to take a slice, and then kind of let go, say right at the point, maybe an inch from the end where I want to stop slicing. And it will slowly come out of that slice and just be a perfect cut along here. Now we got to get the humps out of the two ends right here. And it's the same thing, only shorter. You can see on the GoPro how that's rocking. You see how that's rocking? It's definitely got a hump, and that side has got a hump too. It's just differently shaped. So once again, I don't want this in the way at all, and it wasn't that last time because it was sitting over here. So this is going to. I'm really working only to get the hump out. And this is end grain now. So it definitely makes a different sound. I see I'm touching here, but not at the end. So what I've got to do is not touch there. I'm going to start in the middle. Let me try it like this. It's good and flat. Now, I haven't been holding it tightly against that fence because I'm trying to angle this board to where the hump is in here. And so I've got my fingers on here and I'm kind of guiding the board and the saw at the same time here. But you know what? I almost need, all right, so this one's okay. This one's a little bit better because the hump is directly in the middle and I've got it pushed directly up against that board there. So it's only going to cut that hump as I press into it. This was a much deeper hump on this side than that other side. Okay. Theoretically, this should go in there, and theoretically, I should be able to get it back out. There's no way to push it from the bottom to get it out. You know what? one's on the wrong side. No wonder. There's a fuzz on this MDF all the way around the bottom. And I'm gonna kind of hold it up a little bit. Matter of fact, let me just put this 3/32 inch block under this, and I'm gonna cut that fuzz off. In essence, making a slight little chamfer in there. That won't stop the glue from sticking, but it'll fix the problems it's causing me right now. And I may have to take a little sandpaper to it. Okay. Sandpaper will do the trick. I'm going to go to 220 because I don't want to take off hardly any material. Whoa. Sometimes you'll see me stumble around when I get a little bit of vertigo or dizziness, but I am just very lightly sanding that just on the edge. The edge of the edge. MDF is an interesting material. It doesn't have any grain, and it goes in there a lot easier now. That's it. That is an let me show you on the GoPro. That's an interference fit all the way around, and I dare not push it any deeper because I won't be able to get it back out. So basically, it's going to go down low enough. Come out, please. Here we go. Okay. I'm pretty proud of that. Now, the trick is going to be cutting the top off. It may be that I just put this in here as a holder, so to speak, like that. You get where it's the same. Just right now, that holds it at whatever squareness it wants to be. And then I can go on that table saw. Let's say this is the fence on the table saw. I can go in and put the bottom against the fence and rip that side, come back up, rip that side, come back up, rip this side, come back up, and rip this side. But the last side will be a flat side that I rip, and that'll be on the bottom there, so to speak. And if that's the last one, and I've got it cut in half here, here, and here, that's when I need to take a 3/32 inch piece of wood material and slide it into that groove that's made, and then clamp it together or hold it together in some kind of way as I'm doing the rip, so that it all of a sudden doesn't come together and pinch that blade as I'm trying to squeeze it or do whatever. It's just the way to do that. So that's it. We'll cut the top off next, and then we'll glue the top in as it goes. And you're not seeing my face. Okay, that's it. We will cut the top off next, and then we'll glue this top in and it'll be safe then because I'll have the top completely separate and I can push in and out and get that reveal exactly like I want it, gauging it all around. And I may chamfer the edges of this box like that. And I got a good reason why, because there's a chip of wood missing right here. And if I put a chamfer on it, it'll make that thing go away, and the chamfer will look pretty cool on there. So that's a way of fixing a bug as opposed to using wood filler, and we'll do it that way. So I'll have to put the chamfer on there before I glue it up, and I may do that off camera. I may show it to you. I'll probably show it to you, probably film it on my iPhone or something like that to make it easy. But anyway, whew, glad that we're getting close. Now that I can see an entire box here, top, bottom, sides, and everything, getting it apart, getting it finished with some, oh, and I've done some linseed oil test. This is a piece of, you see all the holes in this from bugs and so forth. That's what it looks like versus this. So the linseed oil looks good, and that's only one coat. You're supposed to put 3 coats on there, but it completely absorbs. It keeps that grain nice and open. None of those holes are filled up with paint or slag or anything like that. It's just wipe-on oil, and it takes 24 hours for it to dry to the touch, and then about a week later, it's hard as a rock as far as the finish is concerned. And I did it to the piece of spalting too, so you can see the difference between the linseed oil side and this side. You really can't see as much difference on the spalted part, but because I think that the spalting part, since it's basically wood that's close to rotting, but it's given it a nice design, it's still hard, it absorbs more. And so I'll probably have to be sure to put more coats than just the one I put on this piece, which has no spalting whatsoever. But does have quite a few little worm holes in there, or beetle holes, or whatever bug is eating their way through that. And so be sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell to be reminded of any new videos coming out. And if you hit the bell on another one, when I publish this video, you'll get reminded of it and be ready to watch it. Of course, you haven't seen it yet, so how do you know? Anyway, I'll tell you later what about that. So, thanks. See you later, guys and gals.